By ministers.
Leader of the House.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, by consensus, the opposition has agreed for the Prime Minister to make a statement until her completion beyond the 10 minutes allotted.
Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On March 7, 2026, the President of the USA, President Donald Trump, invited and hosted selected leaders from across the Western Hemisphere. That included Trinidad and Tobago. On that day, we held together from the hemisphere the inaugural Shield of the Americas Summit in Doral, Florida. That was a very historic moment. Trinidad and Tobago stands very proud to be part of a new partnership, the Americas Counter Cartel Coalition, which is a very strategic alliance designed to confront cartel violence through coordinated security, through coordinated intelligence, sharing, and joint operations across the Americas. Mr. Speaker, for about 1 decade, whilst those on the other side, the PNM, were in government, blood flowed on our streets. That was driven by violent gangs fighting for turf, to sell illegal arms and narcotics trafficked into our country by the drug cartels. Whilst that was happening, many in the PNM hierarchy fattened their pockets from their local drug mafia financiers, while the people of this country, our country, suffered. I say, Honourable Speaker, a short distance away from this building, the new blood-red Balje House stands as a gravestone to drug money, pedophilia, and theft. For almost a decade.
Mr. Speaker, Standing Order 48-4, please.
All right, Prime Minister, can I ask you to use more neutral language as we move on?
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I did not name anyone. It's a class of persons. If it falls in your garden, in your front yard, so be it. Between 2010, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
She was there, so she would know.
Between 2010 and 2015, 2015 and 2025, do we remember? We need to remember these things. There were 124,062 crimes under your watch. You were there under your watch. This one you could take in your garden. Over 5,000 persons were murdered violently. Over 9,000 were brutally raped or sexually assaulted. And over 11,000 persons were robbed of their hard-earned possessions under that former government. And they did nothing. They did nothing. They did nothing. Methinks, I think, sometimes, that they seem to take perverse pride in the fact that PNM strongholds have amongst the highest crime rates, the highest unemployment, the lowest educational attainment, the lowest opportunities and the worst infrastructure in the country under their watch, under their watch. And you know, Mr. Speaker, that is why you hear some of them on the other side every day crying. They're like crybabies, crying every day about radars, about U.S. troops, about U.S. lists. I don't really worry, Honorable G, if maybe some of their names on that list. I don't know. I haven't seen the list. Worried about list, about radar, about the U.S. troops. The PNM, some of them, the local drug mafia financiers, some of them, the pedophile lodge friends, and the fake eater food elite clearly view...
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 48-4, please.
I don't think it's offensive and insulting directed to a member of the House. It's not directed to a member of the House.
Mr. Speaker, if you are saying that statement is not directed to a member of the House?
There is no member to whom it's directed. It's directed at an entity
All right, let
which
him
all
continue.
members are entitled to. The member for Port of Spain not just asked the member for Oropouche and put it like that. I'm not going to repeat it, but it's not directed at a member of the House.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You know, Honorable Speaker, the member for Rima and I were in the law class together. So you know how to craft your statements as a good lawyer. I have not named anyone. If you want to take ownership of it, take it. But I have not named any of them, not one. So today, that is the history, sir, and I'll move on. Today, history is moving forward. I've just set out what we inherited, where we came over that almost 1 decade. History today is moving forward. And I stand today to let the people of our country know, you know, they keep saying the Prime Minister must do this, the Prime Minister must do that, the Prime Minister must do this, must. You cannot tell me what I must do. It's only the people of the country. It is only the people of our land. The electorate who put us here. This is our mandate, and I will answer to them, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm answering to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Because this is the people's house. So, today, I want to say to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that our continued partnership with the USA, and now, not just the USA, with partners from across the hemisphere, Latin America, partners from the US and from the Americas, I want to say that this partnership can only augur well for our nation, especially in this very critical area of crime and security. Many people do not yet fully understand the significance of the coalition we have formed in the region. It is a shield. I want to repeat. People think it's an offensive. Yes, it's an offensive against persons who are not law-abiding. But this coalition is a shield for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I repeat, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And so I take this opportunity today to extend my deep gratitude to President Trump for including TNT in this very historic coalition. And this coalition comprises nations across the hemisphere, not just here, across the Western Hemisphere. They include, of course, the host, the USA, of course, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Honduras, Panama, and Paraguay. These were the ones who met as selected invitees to the summit held in Doral, Florida, recently. Now, I want to make it very clear. You know, we have an expression, no man is an island. And therefore, our crime crisis cannot be solved in isolation, cannot be solved alone. History reflects in the almost decade they were there, they could not solve it. We're alone, and they refused to partner with anyone. They stood alone, and we failed, and our people suffered. Our crime crisis cannot be solved in isolation. It cannot be. And let me tell you why. The dangers posed by illegal drugs, illegal firearms, organized gangs are not only local problems. They're not just a Trinidad and Tobago problem. They are part of a transnational criminal system stretching from South America and throughout the Caribbean right up to North America and also into Europe. So these networks, they move cocaine, they move heroin, they move synthetic drugs, what is called fentanyl, I think. They move them through our waters and ports. And what happens in return? In return, while these are moving, illegal firearms, arms trafficking, illicit money flow back into our communities. Understand this. This is not a TNT alone. You want crime plan, you want crime plan. Here's part of the crime plan. You could never do it. We will do it, and we are doing it. For small island states like Trinidad and Tobago, the consequences are exceedingly severe. Across the Caribbean, gangs now operate with sophisticated financing, advanced weapons, and international criminal connections. And so I say again, this is not just a local problem. It is a hemispheric challenge requiring a joint effort, an international effort, an international response. And that is why, upon assuming office, my government made it very clear that TNT would stand firmly with the USA and our regional partners in targeting narcotics traffickers, arms traffickers, all the other illegal things coming in down into our land. And so we have to dismantle international, transnational criminal networks. Understand that, Mr. Speaker. I ask those who are listening to us, understand this is not a TNT problem. This is a transnational criminal network problem. For decades, Caribbean nations have complained that they are not heard on the global stage. We're too small. We are not heard. This time, we were heard. This time we were heard, TNT. This time we were seen, TNT. This time we were invited to participate. President Trump indicated in his address that U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth established a coalition, this coalition, a pledge from leaders and reps from 70 nations in the Americas, demonstrated that our hemisphere is ready to deal and use hard power to defeat threats to our security and our civilization. These dangers will be addressed using every necessary resource and every legally available authority in the partnership that we form with our allies. The proclamation signed on March 7th makes this very clear, what it is we all agree to, all these nations in the hemisphere. 1, criminal cartels and foreign terrorist organizations in our hemisphere, Western Hemisphere, must be fully dismantled. 2, the USA and its allies, including TNT, will coordinate to deprive these organizations deprive them of financing, resources, and territory, because they come and they build territories in our states and our nations. 3, we will partner nation militaries to be trained and mobilized to dismantle cartel networks and prevent the export of violence. And 4, this hemisphere, we pledge to stand together to keep malign external influences from destabilizing our country and the region. So for TNT, the benefits for Trinidad and Tobago are very substantial. One, stronger intelligence sharing. Cartels operate across borders. They know no borders. They are borderless. And through this coalition that we have formed, law enforcement agencies will share real-time intelligence on trafficking routes, on gang leaders, on financial networks, and weapons shipments. And so with better intelligence sharing, our forces here in security can act faster and more effectively. 2, enhance maritime and border security. We in the Caribbean, we in TNT, we sit along some of the world's busiest drug trafficking corridors. Again, I say, I don't know if people understand. We sit along some of the world's busiest drug trafficking corridors. Through joint operations, surveillance support, and coordinated interdiction efforts, coalition partners, all of us who signed on, can disrupt shipments before they reach our shores. 3, direct support in combating illegal firearms trafficking. We don't make guns here, you know. We make no arms in this country. But then you see these photos of people with huge, long, big, small, every size you can think of. I think some people, maybe not in this house, but there's some persons who have one of each. And some persons actually returned one when they found it was illegal to have it. I think that my father was a minister. It was a gift. He had to return it back to law enforcement. I will say no more. That was a very young minister, by the way. So here we go. Direct support in combating firearms trafficking. One of the greatest threats, Mr. Speaker, facing our nations in the Caribbean is the flow of illegal guns. Many firearms used in regional crimes do not come from here. They originate outside the region. Through coordinated enforcement and investigative cooperation, the coalition members, all of us who met and others who want now to join in, they can help stop these weapons before they reach our streets. And 4, training and technology sharing. Training, technology, capacity building. We can help each other in the hemisphere with these matters. So, Mr. Speaker, our police and defense forces will benefit from joint training, advanced technology, and international cooperation. This certainly will strengthen our ability to dismantle gangs, investigate financial crimes, and prosecute organized criminal networks. And so, the coalition that was formed, the America's Counter-Cartel Coalition, now becomes a powerful new instrument in our national security arsenal. Mr. Speaker, I know some of my friends on the other side are very concerned if I met Trump or did not meet Trump. Let me say it very clear. During the summit, I had the honor of speaking directly with President Trump and thanking him for his support of Trinidad and Tobago and the region. I reaffirm the commitment of Trinidad and Tobago to working together in the interests of the people of TNT and the people of our Western Hemisphere. We also met with the summit's special envoy, Christine Wim, to discuss border security and ongoing cooperation. Let me come now, Mr. Speaker, of the build-up to where we were on the 7th of March, the America's Counter-Cartel Conference. Prior to the summit that I attended, before that, on March 5th, our Minister of Defense, Minister Wayne Sturge, attended the America's Counter-Cartel Conference hosted by the Secretary of War of the U.S., Pete Hegseth, and I commend him for his representation. At that conference, Minister Sturge, on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago, he placed the challenges facing us here in TNT directly on the table. He made it very clear. We are on the front lines of this fight. We need stronger support to disrupt drug cartels, gun running, and so on, narco trafficking. and to protect our national interests, including our very vital energy sector. Thank you, Mr. Sir. Thank you. Then, sir, prior to the summit I attended, a joint security declaration was signed by 17 countries from the hemisphere. In that, we reaffirmed our shared commitment to peace, to sovereignty, and stability in the region. I want to repeat, sir, that was a commitment to peace, sovereignty, and stability. I repeat, and some seem to misunderstand, when we partner with people, they think we are giving up our sovereignty. No, we are partnering. It's a partnership, it's a coalition for joint interests and to protect the people of our land. So I repeat, commitment to peace, sovereignty, and stability. TNT's sovereignty remains strong and firmly intact. Our participation in America's counter-cartel coalition reflects our commitment to regional cooperation in tackling transnational crime, whilst at the same time we maintain full control over our national decisions and policies. We maintain that sovereignty. And so sovereignty is never weakened by partnerships, Mr. Speaker. It is strengthened when nations work together to protect their people, to protect borders, and our democratic institutions. That's what it is. It's a partnership. It's not a surrendering of sovereignty. I move further, sir. Any actions undertaken through this collaboration will be guided by law, ensuring the use of force and all operational measures remain lawful and accountable. I have a very good AG on my side. A very good AG. I have many lawyers on our side. We will operate within the rule of law and democratic institutions. So TNT's diplomatic successes continue thereafter the summit on the 7th. At the summit, and that very same day, it was a very long day, sir, I think the agenda changed. First we were invited to come there about midday, then it was changed to come at 7 a.m. and we worked through the whole day and night. And so what we also did in the formal and informal settings there for that whole day, up into the night, we had several bilateral meetings, Mr. Speaker, with senior U.S. officials. I think it's the first time this may have happened. Indeed, I'm told, and maybe those on the other side can correct me, this is the first time in 50 years that a Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago was invited by the President of the United States. President. So we held bilaterals. All of us, 12, 13 nations, leaders from the free world in our part of in this part of the world, in this hemisphere, we held these bilaterals. And so we met with the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Always a pleasure to meet him, very bright man, very willing to listen to the problems in the region, our region, and in the hemisphere. We met him. And we also met with his Deputy Secretary of State, Christopher Landu, and we discussed further engagement for our region, including, of course, developments involving our neighbor next door, Venezuela. We also met with U.S. Secretary of Energy, Chris Wright, to talk about cooperation in the energy sector, including gas fields, which involve Venezuela, and interests in refinery and tank farm infrastructure. In that meeting with Secretary Wright, it produced almost immediate results. Within hours, energy giant Chevron reached out expressing interest in doing business in Trinidad and Tobago. Within hours. We also had very productive talks with U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, and we talked about U.S.-based companies interested in here, in Trinidad and Tobago, investment, infrastructure, rehab projects in Trinidad and Tobago. And we also met with the trade representative, Jameson Clare, U.S. Trade Representative. And there we talked about tariffs and their potential impact on energy commodities. Not only did we meet all these American counterparts at the highest level, that's the cabinet of the USA, most of them we were able to meet when we were there in Florida. But we also used that opportunity to have bilateral discussions with those other leaders from the hemisphere, Latin America from the Americas, from our hemisphere. We held discussions then also with several Latin American presidents. We spoke with Paraguay's leadership regarding TNT's application to become an associate member in Mercosur. Now, some may know, some may not know. Very important, if we become a partner, that's another partnership, another alliance, strategically, that we have asked to join that grouping, Mercosur, which takes up the Latin American countries. We held talks with leaders from Argentina, from Chile, the Dominican Republic, Panama, and others on trade and national security cooperation. So, in and all, in that one day, it was, we probably held more meetings than we hold in a week here, and they were very successful. I want to thank all those countries who engaged with us. Following on that summit on March 9th, so the summit was on the 7th, you'll ask me about the 8th, I'll tell you about that in a minute. I think one of your members is very interested in Joy's Roti Shop, so I'll tell you about that in a minute. So let me speak about...
what they have with roti.
I don't know what is your problem. Oh, they always have a roti issue. You know why? Because it's very delicious. Very delicious. So on March 9th now, so that summit was on the 8th, that was on the 7th. On March 9th, I had the privilege and the honor of being invited by the United States Southern Command, to their base in Florida. So I visited them on the 9th, which was the Monday, I believe, Monday the 9th. I met with Commander General Donovan and his team. And of course, don't get vexed, but I did extend an invitation to Trinidad and Tobago, because we all like everybody to visit our home. So we asked them, please come, anytime you're ready, please come. They've been here before. And we asked them, here's an invitation to visit TNT anytime. And I think the General gave an undertaking, I wouldn't say a promise, that they will try before the end of the year to visit us. There, our discussions are focused on strengthening defense cooperation, combating designated terrorist organizations, and drug cartels operating within the Caribbean. Once again, as I said, I used the opportunity, like Minister Sturge did when he made the plea for help for us in this region, and especially here in Trinidad and Tobago. Again, I took that opportunity to make our case directly. Trinidad and Tobago needs greater support in areas such as cybersecurity, forensics, ballistics, and of course, intelligence. And that followed, that was on the 9th. And then we continued. And this is the one I think some members from the other side, maybe not in this house or maybe the other house, had real problems. That I went to Joy's Roti Delight, or they call it Joy's Roti Shop. It's called Joy's Delight, I'm sorry. You know, we should be proud of those people. We should be proud. We should be proud. Did you know that Minister Saddam's mom runs a roti shop? Did you know my mother ran a roti shop? So I'm proud of all the roti makers. And they took real umbrage. They were so angry that we went to Joy's Roti Delight, Joy's Roti Shop, whatever. But I'll tell you, when you go up there, all the diaspora people from TNT, they go there. They're all there. I met hundreds of people there on this diaspora event. And you know, I really didn't intend to spend so much time, but somebody told me last night, and somebody from their side, quarreling that I went by Joy's Roti. But I will urge any trainee that goes in that part of the world, you should go finish it. You should really go visit Joy's Roti Delight. Because it's not only roti, you know, by the way. They don't only have roti, you know, But you all have a problem with roti, but you'll eat it every day. Let me move on, Mr. Speaker. I drifted a bit. I'll come off, okay? So I went to that diaspora event. It's in Lauderhill, Florida. And I urge anybody visiting that part of the world, please go to Joy's Roti Delight in Lauderhill, Florida. And then they said the government has been run from Joy's Roti Shop. Wow, Joy, you reach far. Sheila, you reach far. I haven't visited there in maybe 2 or 3 years. So whatever lies your narrative are, please change them. But you will not change, you continue. And whilst I was there, I had the great honor and privilege of meeting Mayor Denise Grant. She was there. She was there. And not only was she liked the roti too. And not only was she there, she issued a proclamation of honor to me. And the proclamation for the mayor there in Lauderhill, whom I've never met before personally, and that proclamation was the name March 8th, Kamla Prasad Bisesa Day. Thank you, Mayor.
We might do that here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much, Mayor. And of course, I also want to thank and honor businesswoman. Now, Joy was her husband's name. He has now passed, God rest his soul, and his wife runs the business. Her name is Sheila Sal, and I want to thank her and her family for opening their doors to us and members of our diaspora, our community. You know, I was shocked, Minister Salam, you're watching me closely because you also go there, don't you, when you get a chance. I was surprised pleasantly at the amount of persons who came for this diaspora event. They played tassa, they played steel pan, they sing, some dance. I didn't, sorry, but Sheila danced, by the way. She did a little something. It was amazing. So I want to thank them all. It was very moving to me and those in the delegation with me to see so many TNT nationals thriving in South Florida there in Lauderhill. We congratulate them all. They've made a new life, but their hearts are still, the liver string is still buried in Trinidad and Tobago. And they tell me, always, that those who eat a cascadura, the legend says, no matter where you may wander, your home is Trinidad and Tobago, you end your days here. And many of them would like to come home. Many are excited about coming home. And I invited them, come, let us build our nation together. Many had fled. Many had left. Many had left. So, and then on my last day there, on my way, leaving, I also took the opportunity to visit our consulate to thank our very hard-working staff. Why are you looking so worried, ma'am? St. Nancy's looks very worried. I visited the consulate. You know what, ma'am, can I tell you? Maybe you don't know. They said the last time a prime minister visited the Trinidad and Tobago consulate in Miami was when I visited them in my first incarnation as prime minister. No appreciation. So I visited, I thank that very hard-working staff at the consulate. Not one was picked by me or us in this government. They were all picked under your government. But they said, no prime minister.
You don't care for people?
No prime minister. The last time a prime minister came was when I visited in my first incarnation as prime minister. I thank them for their hard work. They represent our country abroad with dedication and pride, and I thank them on your behalf, on my behalf, and the people of TNT. So as I close, Mr. Speaker, this trip was not just a diplomatic visit. It wasn't just go there, shake hands and smile and walk away. You know, it wasn't. It was a strategic victory for Trinidad and Tobago. It was a win for security and safety. It was a win for our economy here, because of the partnerships. It was a win for the future of our nation. TNT's government was present. TNT's government was heard. TNT's government will continue to stand strong in defense of law-abiding citizens. When the UNC wins, law-abiding citizens win. I thank you very much.
One question for the resolution.
24-4.
There were-
In light of the allegations made, is the Prime Minister aware that the US sought the extradition of 2 UNC operatives because money stolen in the controversial Piarco Airport project was flagged by the DEA as being sent to a drug cartel in Colombia by those UNC operatives?
Honorable Prime Minister.
Much.